Since we're about halfway through the summer and the 2023 playoff bracket is almost full, it is time to talk about the 2024 NASCAR silly season. There's about 10 cars that still have open seats for the 2024 season, who's re-signing, who's shuffling their decks, and who's looking for sponsors for next season. We're going to break it all down today on Shifting Gears. I'm Alan Bailey, and before your favorite driver signs with another team, you better mash that subscribe button so you don't miss a video, and log on to AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. We're going to go numerically because, frankly, it's the easiest way to do this. We're going to go ahead and start with the number 4 car. We already found out that Josh Berry is going to be taking over for the retiring Kevin Harvick. Berry's an excellent choice to replace Harvick, frankly. He's a guy who is a short track racer through and through. Reminds me a lot of Harvick. And the fact that he already has an established relationship with crew chief Rodney Childers tells me that this organization and this team might legitimately be a threat to make the playoffs in 2024. He already proved earlier this season when he replaced Chase Elliott when he was injured that he can run up front with these Cup boys, and I think he's a future champion in the NASCAR Cup Series, mark my words. We also heard reports that Corey LaJoie is reportedly re-signing with the 7 car and Spire Motorsports. A little surprised by this one, to be honest with you, because Corey LaJoie is a guy who has been outperforming the equipment he's been giving, and he's doing a lot with very, very little equipment and resources over there. And frankly, if I'm LaJoie, I'm looking to sign with a better organization. But he is loyal to Spire Motorsports, he helped build that organization, and they are definitely trending in the right direction, and it looks like he's going to be loyal and stay with the organization that gave him a shot in the Cup Series. Whether or not that's a great decision for him long term, we're going to have to wait and see. This one I really do not understand, but a lot of people are saying that Aric Almirola could be retiring at the end of the 2023 season. Yes, he announced that 22 was going to be his last season, and then he shocked everybody by unretiring, saying that he was going to come back for 2 more seasons with 23 and 24. Meaning, if he's a guy who sticks to his word, he should be retiring after next season, not after this season. But again, I definitely see the possibility that he could retire at the end of 23, but I think he's a guy who made a commitment to his sponsors, to Stewart-Haas, and I do think he will be in that car in 2024. So the rumors that Harrison Burton or Zane Smith could take over the 10 car at Stewart-Haas, I think are just that, rumors, and people who are looking for clicks on YouTube at this point. Another driver mulling retirement after 2023, Martin Truex Jr. and the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. I don't think he's going anywhere, honestly. He made some, let's just say, life choices recently, and because of that, he has kind of a reinvigorated spirit. He's leading the point standings right now. I honestly think he's coming back next season. He's still mulling it over. We could get a decision pretty late in the game, but honestly, I see an announcement that he's back in 2024 coming sooner rather than later, because I don't see Martin Truex Jr. retiring after 2023, but again, I could be wrong. Wood Brothers Racing and Harrison Burton. Now, his contract's expiring at the end of this season. He's 29th in the point standings right now. Honestly, he's had some pretty disappointing seasons and disappointing runs in this Wood Brothers Ford, but honestly, so has pretty much everyone else except for Ryan Blaney that one time he won in the car. So honestly, the Wood Brothers has always been that last-tiered Ford team over at Penske, over for the Ford camp. I think Harrison Burton can do a lot better with, frankly, a lot better equipment, but he is kind of a Penske driver, so I think Roger's going to want to keep him in that 21 car, but at what point is Harrison Burton going to get sick of running in subpar equipment? At what point is he going to potentially jump over to Chevy or jump over to Toyota? I definitely see him as a guy who could be snatched up by another organization. As far as where he could go, he could fall up to the 10 car, taking over for Aric once Aric decides he's done racing in the Cup Series, but is that a dramatic improvement from where he's running right now in the 21? I don't think so. If anything, he might want to look into other opportunities outside of Ford, but again, we'll have to wait and see what Harrison Burton and Wood Brothers does next season. Kaulig Racing's number 31, and Justin Haley. They're 21st in the Cup Series point standings right now. His contract is expiring, but honestly, Justin Haley has been at Kaulig Racing for 10 years. I don't think Haley's going anywhere. I think Haley is, at this point, probably going to be signing a lifetime contract with Kaulig Racing and probably going to be in the Cup Series in that number 31 car for as long as he wants to be in it. Kaulig hasn't had the best Cup start so far, and they're still developing. I do think that Haley is part of those long-term plans, and frankly, I don't see a better option for Justin Haley or for Kaulig Racing, so I think they will re-sign. Front Row Motorsports number 34 Ford and Michael McDowell, currently 18th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. I do think that they will re-sign McDowell. Front Row has always been that organization that signs drivers year to year to year, but they've been with Michael McDowell so long, I don't see him leaving that organization. I see him retiring in that number 34 Ford as long as the sponsorship holds out, which has always plagued Front Row Motorsports. The only reason they go year to year is because of sponsors. I can guarantee McDowell would have a lifetime contract if they had the sponsor dollars. The other Front Row Motorsports car, the number 38 Ford with Todd Gilliland. We found out this year that Todd Gilliland would be kind of splitting that car with Zane Smith. Smith is definitely a guy who's going to be in the Cup Series in a Ford at some point in the near future. Frankly, I'm surprised he hasn't done even more races for Ford this season. But Gilliland proved this year, and is proving this year, that he is a guy that deserves to be in Cup. Arguably, Gilliland has been outrunning that equipment better than his teammate. And at this point, Front Row Motorsports might be the second-tier Ford team with Stewart-Haas struggling so bad this year. So Gilliland, I really do think, is really selling himself extraordinarily well right now in that car when he gets in it. Heck, he even went into a Rick Ware car this season and outperformed his own car. So I do think that Gilliland should be in the Cup Series. I think the guy needs better equipment, but we'll have to wait and see if they do re-sign with Front Row. The other option for this 38 is Zane Smith, but again, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't even think they know where they want to go next season yet. This one is technically on the table, but I don't really feel like it is. The number 41 Ford at Stewart-Haas Racing. Ryan Pierce is currently in it. He signed a one-year contract, and I honestly do think he is coming back next season, but Cole Custer could move back into his old ride, but I highly doubt it. Pierce brings sponsor dollars, which is what Stewart-Haas needs, especially with the announcement this week that they're losing Busch Beer and the 4 car next year. They are struggling for sponsors. They are looking for sponsors, and at this point, Gene Haas honestly can't afford to sponsor all of his cars all year long, but it might trend that way if they don't start signing big name sponsors in the near future. So I think Pierce is pretty much secured and locked up for the number 41 Ford in 2024. But again, sponsor dollars could fall through and Custard could end up back in that car, but I highly doubt it. The last car on the grid that currently doesn't have a driver sign for 2024 is the number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevy, and Ty Dillon, currently 33rd in the Cup Series point standings. His contract's expiring. Dillon had a one-year deal, and honestly, he's just kind of there. Clearly, he's not his brother, and clearly the Dillon brothers aren't setting the world on fire. Will he be back? Honestly, we're hearing that Spire Motorsports is trying to extend both of their drivers, so I do think Ty should be back in the number 77 next year. The other alternative to that, maybe Carson Hussavar, maybe. He did do a fill-in race at the 7 team, and yeah, he did actually pretty well before they had a mechanical failure. So Carson is definitely a guy to keep an eye on as potentially a Chevy outlier, but he could jump into, frankly, any one of the seats that are available next year in the Cup Series because this kid's stock is starting to rise. Yes, he's starting to mature, but he's a guy who might be in a Cup car sometime in the next few years, maybe even as early as next year. But what do you think? Where do you think these drivers are going to end up? Do you see Martin Truex Jr. retiring after 2023? Do you see Spire Motorsports re-signing both of their drivers? And where do you see Ford in the near future? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, make sure you mash that subscribe button so that you come on back for the next video, and log on to AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you did, go ahead and drop the word peanut butter in the comments down below. 'Cause why not, right? For Shifting Gears and the American Racing Network, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see ya at the track.